Brodes Media.
Hey everyone, before I start screaming my face off, just a couple things real quick. TikTok, follow me at Brodes Media. We're making great content there, always fun. On Twitter, at Brodes81 is my personal, at Brodes Media is the company account. Make sure you follow me over there. Lastly, if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button to join the team. We talk about Philadelphia sports every single damn day here, and we lose our mind, unfortunately. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, too. That's about it. Thank you all so much, and enjoy the show. Oh, do we have a doozy today? Danny Green, thank you so much for keeping this Philadelphia Sixers team in the loop with all sorts of dialogue. What the hell just came out of his mouth? What the hell is he saying? The audacity of a gentleman who's been here for a cup of coffee, and he believes he has the pulse of the fan base. It's a true disgrace, and I don't agree with a word that he said. What this basically boils down to is protecting Ben Simmons. Every single individual, whether it's Doc Rivers all season long, telling us that the media has no idea what they're talking about, and the fan base has no idea what they're talking about. And then you have Dwight Howard on his Instagram page going live telling us to calm down on Ben Simmons. And now we have Danny Green doing it. It all goes back to Ben Simmons, and I believe that he's even softer than I thought he was, and that's saying a lot considering where he is mentally. So, there's a lot really to dive into when you start peeling back the layers to this story, and if you live under a rock, what ended up happening was John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia has his own podcast called The Takeoff. Danny Green was on the podcast, and he had some very interesting words to say. And it's funny, I'm putting myself in John Clark's shoes, right? When you're doing a show and you have on a guest, and that guest is saying something that triggers your brain going, oh, ho, ho, here we go. This is juicy. This is going to be exciting. This is going to light the fan base on fire. You have that feeling in your stomach during the interview. And I can only imagine what was going through John Clark's head in that time. It's going to spiral out of control, and it sure did, and deservedly so. The reaction by the fans, which is basically screw you, Danny Green, you have no clue, is the right way to react. It's not our job to just go, woohoo! Woohoo! We don't care if you lose. We don't care if you suck. We don't care if you lose 3 home games to a team that's the 5th seed when you're the number 1 seed. We don't care if you don't shoot a basketball after 5 seasons. That's a flat-out embarrassment to think that we need to be calmer and we're not allowed to boo. And the nature of the fan base is too extreme here. That's foolish. All right, Danny, with all due respect, because you are a champion and you played a significant role in those championships, I'm not going to downplay that. But you have not played in a real city yet. When you play early in his career, okay, he was where he was. But once we get to San Antonio is a culture of Greg Popovich, superstars, and they're just proud of what they built there. They're going down in history as one of the most epic runs you'll ever see in basketball. They're just appreciative of what they have. San Antonio is not the same type of beast that we have here on the East Coast. When you go to Toronto, come on now. Okay, this isn't hockey, get pucks deep. This isn't hockey. Okay, Toronto Raptors, the whole entire country enjoys it. You're not going to get ripped apart, criticized, insanely destroyed. And look, Toronto, I actually thoroughly enjoy some Toronto sports talk radio. I listen intensely because I enjoy hockey, and I love hearing them bash the Toronto Maple Leafs and rip them apart and talk about hockey on a nightly basis. They don't talk about the Raptors the same way, though, for a reason. So that is not comparable. Then you go to the Lakers. The Lakers, while they have a big fan base, they don't have a fan base that is the way that it is here on the East Coast. They have other things to do out in L.A. Sure, they enjoy the Lakers. They enjoy the Dodgers. They like those teams. But when things go south, when things get ugly, it's not the same screaming type of fan that's upset and voicing their frustration, because it's one of those fan bases that has fans all over the map. It's not LA. I mean, you're from Georgia, you're from Alabama, you're from Montana, Utah, New Jersey, here and there. It's like, oh, I like the Lakers. They're just an iconic logo. So you don't get that same feel and that same buzz. And also, you had LeBron James and you won a championship. Now, here's what upsets me. And I bring that up because Danny Green doesn't understand Philadelphia culture, doesn't understand what we've been through. To criticize us after going through the process and tanking on purpose, a Burnergate situation where the league forces your hand to get rid of Sam Hinkie. Here comes Brian Colangelo. Markelle Fultz forgets how to play basketball. Ben Simmons doesn't shoot a basketball. Yet it's our fault here that this team underachieved, and he truly understands the patience that we have had as a fan base. It's just not reality. He has no idea, and he doesn't truly understand what we've been through. You just got here, man. You just got here. So it's not the same as some of the other cities he played in, and that's fine, because I asked this question. What's the job of a fan? I think that's the most simple way to go about this. What is the job of a fan? If you think the job of a fan is just to cheer on no matter what, well, that's asinine, because that's not the way that I describe it. A fan is allowed to voice their frustration. They're allowed to hold you accountable. That's part of it, man. That is part of being a professional athlete, getting paid the big bucks. You boo, you scream, you yell, and you cheer. The perfect example is this. Back in, 2019, Ben Simmons went on to play not just Ben Simmons, it was the Philadelphia 76ers in the playoffs, but Ben Simmons got booed against the Brooklyn Nets, and it was just not it was not the game that Ben Simmons wanted. Well, then guess what? He responds with a triple-double in Game 2 after making a statement, stay on that side. If you remember that, he came out publicly, stay on that side. And he responded with the triple-double, and he got a standing ovation, and people were going nuts. It was absolutely insane, right? Was it a standing ovation or just an ovation? I don't know. Regardless, though, the Wells Fargo Center, crazy, everybody loved him. There's support here. To boo you just means you're not doing good enough. We're holding you accountable. That's part of your job. And by the way, it's not all outrageous. First off, you received death threats in LA after missing a wide open shot, while the fans are just booing out of frustration. The job of a fan is to experience what is on the court and react to what is happening on the court. If it's great things, you're going to be loved and you're going to be appreciated. If it's bad things, you're going to be booed and you're going to be held accountable. Now, it's not only just about executing, okay? It really comes down to effort, because Joel Embiid had a lot of turnovers. Now, we all know, because we're smart with the sport of basketball, that a lot of those turnovers all started with the fact that your point guard can't shoot a basketball. But also, when you look at Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris, they didn't execute, all right? They weren't perfect down the stretch, but they tried. They actually played the game of basketball. They left it out on the floor. They took the shots they needed to take. They were trying and attempting. We care about effort. We care about attempts. We care about trying to seize the moment and putting everything out there, while Ben Simmons is running away like the fraud that he is. Do you not see the difference? Do you not see how this is totally two different scenarios here, where while some Ben Simmons stands, which there are still some out there, which blows my mind, always say, well, what about Joel? What about Doc? What about Tobias? Yeah, you know what? They made mistakes, and there were issues out there on the floor, but they weren't running away from the basketball. I want to know how other fan bases would react to 5 years of not shooting a basketball of Ben Simmons. We're not the only ones. This is the truth. This is the reality. Ben Simmons doesn't work. Ben Simmons cannot shoot a basketball, yet I'm told by Danny Green, I got to be patient with him. I got to cheer him up. No, I don't. And why does it care? Why do they care? Why does it matter what I think? 4 years ago, I started screaming about Philadelphia sports on my YouTube channel, and that should be it. I mean, that should be what makes you so devastated as a professional basketball player, a college athlete 4 years ago that started a YouTube channel. That impacts your life that much. And by the way, now that I worked up in the ranks, worked at 97.3 ESPN. Now I'm on the Fanatic on the weekends. I hear Ben Simmons love and support every day. I go back and forth with idiots all the time who believe that Ben Simmons is still good somehow. I hear it every day over and over and over again. Don't move on from Ben. Don't move on from Ben. Ben is still special. If he starts shooting, if he does this, if he does that, there's support everywhere, everywhere. This fan base cheered for him when he hit his first three. It's not irrational to expect a player to learn how to shoot a basketball. I saw this perfectly on Twitter. Lonzo Ball went from the ugliest fucking shot I've ever seen in my life, miserable too, may I add, and now my man looks like he's got better form, he's producing better. Why? Because he's working on it and he's putting in the work. There's no way that Ben is working on it very hard and putting in that type of production and work every single day. If Lonzo Ball does, and with the snap of his fingers, not really the snap of his fingers, it took time, there was progress, but he's already at a spot where it looks insanely better. Ben Simmons is running away from the basketball, running away from big moments. It just doesn't add up. So let's get to some of these quotes here from this podcast. John Clark says, do you think the crowd and Philly can have an effect on someone like Ben in those moments? And here's the response. For sure, it has an effect on everybody, and I think that's something that needs to change in this city. I love our fans, but when things aren't going well, they can turn on you. Or they can't turn on you, he's saying. We don't turn on you. We're just saying, be better. No one's changing teams. Oh, I'm a Cavs fan. I'm a Nets fan. I'm a Bucks fan. No one's turning on you. We're just saying, be better. How many leads did you blow in a 7-game series to the Atlanta Hawks that you should have absolutely won? How many? That's on you. You can't do that. Shame on you. Right? It's not that difficult. Do your job. If you don't do your job, you're going to get criticized. That is the nature of sports. Don't tie that to, because I hear this all the time. Well, what if you do bad at your finance job? You don't get booed. Well, what if you do bad in your cubicle and your manager comes in? You don't get booed. That's not part of that. The part of sports is you get held accountable by your fans. And some of these cities don't give a damn. You want to go play for the Orlando Magic? By all means, go play for the Orlando Magic. But it's a different type of beast here. And it's okay to be this way. We're not being too outrageous. The way we handled the Sixers this year is not a problem. Is not wrong. We're fans, and we're reacting to a team underachieving by a long shot. So the reaction was, you guys sucked, and you did not do enough. And that's okay, Danny, to understand. That's okay to recognize. So he continues. That's the one thing I would disagree with or dislike. Some guys use it as motivation. Some guys have a chip on their shoulder, but I think that needs to change. They need to be riding with us regardless of how things are going. We are! What are you talking about? What are you saying? What's going on in your brain, Danny? You're a smart guy. You are. You are an intelligent human being, and you are a respectful guy. What the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? It really does make me wonder, how soft is Ben Simmons? How soft is Ben Simmons? More quotes. We're the number one team in the East, still playing well. In some of those games, they'll boo us. That's part of the culture. Part of their way is showing they love us. But with a guy like Ben and other guys, I think you need to stick behind them and stick by them as long as you can. It's been 5 years. 5 years. This reaction is very warranted. I always hear this. It's a knee-jerk reaction. You're getting too far ahead of yourself. You're just reacting emotionally. It's been 5 years. 5 years. 5 fucking motherfucking years. And this is too quick? Too quick. Okay. My man didn't take a shot in the fourth quarter in how many straight playoff games? And this is my fault. This is the fans' fault. He continues. He's given so much to this organization and the city on and off the court. He deserves that respect. I deserve respect. Play basketball. Play basketball. I deserve respect. That's absolutely asinine to come at the fans and say it's the fans' fault for Ben Simmons being in the spot that he is in. It really is disgusting. It makes me sick, and it flat out pisses me off that we are here today. I did not anticipate this being a storyline when I woke up this morning. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the news drop, when I saw John Clark's tweet, when I saw NBC Sports Philadelphia blow this thing out there. I mean, it's crazy. He's actually blaming the 20,000 fans that have cheered him on for years. Debated if this would work, but how many fans were diehard Ben Simmons fans for the last handful of seasons and said, you gotta see what can happen when he finally starts shooting. And then when he doesn't, it's okay to eventually turn on a player after giving him a reasonable amount of time to adjust his game and become a better version of himself, and he just flat out never did. More quotes. I hope that turns for him in the city of Philly, so where they don't have this mantra as fans of being cold, rough, and one of the worst in the league, because we had a great time this year. We had a great outing. When they came and allowed fans back in the building, it was amazing. They had energy, which we needed and loved. I hope that changes for him and the city. I mean, look, dude. It's crazy. It really is. More things here. I'm very fascinated by these quotes, right? Lots of frustration over the years. I understand it. We had a golden opportunity this year, and there will be plenty more to come with what you guys have here. But just enjoy it. Love them. I love our fans, but I try to throw things out there to let them know. Protect us, encourage us, stand by us like we stand by you, regardless of wins or losses. We're humans and people too. We're not zoo animals. And where you can throw things or be on our side when it's convenient. Like, this is getting way too overboard, way too extreme, and crossing the line, in my opinion, here. Protect us, encourage us, stand by us like we stand by you, regardless of wins or losses. This is the environment we live in. Soft, and I'm never one of those guys. I'm normally anti. I can't stand, people who bitch and complain too much about where society is and where sports have come with some of these athletes. But just like everything else, there is this time where you overstep your boundaries and when you go too far. And now Danny Green, who's a veteran, been around the block, played through the old times, played through the times where you probably had 2-a-days in camp and you were throwing up and your coach yelled at you to swallow your saliva, and that was your way of getting hydrated during those tough training camps and things of that nature. Now, Danny Green, maybe he's just recognizing some of the younger cats in the league and how it's all transpiring and how it's all transitioning. But I'll tell you what, it's not our job to just wave pom-poms when you're not holding your end of the bargain. Part of your job as a player is to win basketball games. When that doesn't happen, we don't say, it's okay, guys, don't worry about it. Keep losing, keep being bad. We will be here for you. When the expectations are, you're a number 1 seed, you're playing a number 5 seed, you're at home, you don't lose 3 of those games. You don't lose a 20-plus point lead and get shelled. It just is unacceptable. So shame on you, Danny Green. It's just horrible that he had that he said that. We went through so much with this damn team. We really did. Really did. We went through so much with this organization and this franchise. For you to tell us that we didn't handle it properly, I'm baffled. I'm baffled by it. I'm also baffled by the greatness of DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook is not only my favorite sportsbook, but also America's top-rated sportsbook. I love using DraftKings Sportsbook. It's easy to navigate, has plenty of instructions for new bettors, and nearly limitless ways to get in on all the action. My friends and family have been loving DraftKings Sportsbook, and I know you will too. Listen to this great offer. DraftKings Sportsbook is putting you courtside with the chance to turn $1 into $100 in site credits. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use promo code Brodes when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free credits. Bet on the basketball team of your choice to win their next game. And if they do, you will claim $100 in free credits. That's promo code Brodes for a limited time. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Wager paid out in-site credits. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay, let's go to the Anytime Hotline and hear from you. Your reaction to Danny Green and his statements. What a joke.
Danny's comments just show that it goes back to, again, just coddling Vincent. But it was Brett Brown's fault that Ben wouldn't shoot the ball first. Then yesterday, according to his brothers alike, it was Embiid's fault. Ben had no confidence because he was a bad teammate. It was Doc's fault because he was enabling him. Now it's the fans' fault for not being happy that he was shooting 4 for 14, blowing a 26-point lead at home. Like, at some point, it just needs to be Ben's fault and not everyone else's fault that Ben stinks at basketball.
I agree with you completely. I don't know how Ben Simmons can come back after this. He's seen at Wimbledon. Now, my thing with the Wimbledon thing is, well, he probably was not doing this. Let me just say this in general about athletes. If you see an athlete at an event, that does not mean they're not trying hard or going to the gym or working out. If you do go to the gym from, let's hypothetically say, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., and all you did for 4 hours was grind and go to work, and then at 2 in the afternoon, you're at Wimbledon watching a tennis match, that's okay. You're allowed to have a social life. To say they're not allowed to have a social life at all and to be in the gym 24/7 is just absolutely outrageous. I will admit that it's bad optics, though. This city is in heartbreak. This city can't comprehend what just happened. This city's extremely pissed off because of you and your flaws, and it seems like you are oblivious, just like he's oblivious to how he needs to shoot a basketball, how he's impacted this franchise, how he has been an issue for this team over the last handful of seasons in playoff basketball. He's oblivious to that, just like he's oblivious to the picture. So I get it. With Ben Simmons, it's not the greatest look in the world, but I'm just talking in general. This whole, they got to be in the gym, they can't be other places. That's unfair. What if you're in the gym for 6 hours in the morning? You can't do something at 7 p.m. at night because you're supposed to be working on your craft. There is this we're going too far with it. So to me personally, I don't have a problem with him at Wimbledon as long as he's doing the grind the way that he needs to do the grind. Do I think he's doing that right now when he's in the UK with his girlfriend or wherever he goes afterwards? I don't know. I mean, you are allowed to have vacation after the season's over, but once again, knowing how we are damaged and knowing how you have crushed this franchise, which I don't think he believes he did, there's got to be a give and take here where, if it's me, I'm working out every day when I'm in the UK and I'm getting myself back into the swing of things while still having some fun and doing my social life as well. I don't know if that's the case on this vacation that he's on. So if it is, then I can get behind Wimbledon. If it's not, then I can't get behind Wimbledon. But, just in general, a social life is acceptable in my opinion, and it should be everyone's opinion. Unfortunately, it's not, though. When you are an athlete, it's not just sports 24/7. We talk about the mental side of the game. There is a mental side of life as well. There's a mental side of everything with Ben Simmons, so there's got to be something. When I'm down, I talk to my fiance, hang out with my fiance. I get away from what's stressing me out. I talk to my friends. So there's a time for that, and it's right after the season, after the most ridiculous performance we've ever seen in our life. So I'm accepting of that, but it's got to be back in rather quickly. And I never thought I'd be sitting here defending Ben to any degree today, but there's an element to that I'm allowing Ben to have, but it can't be forever. I'm talking maybe a week, 5 days, 6 days. Okay, now it's time to get back into the gym. It's time to get back and kind of get things going. So, there's a bit of me that understands, a bit of me that's also frustrated, a bit of me that sees the pros to it, the cons to it, and whatnot. So I'm hoping he's putting in work. I'm okay with him having some days off. I'm also okay with him putting in the work and then showing his face. After that, you'll just never know what he did behind closed doors. But yeah, I mean, Ben Simmons, it's not going to work here. And I'm totally ready to move on with him. Go get your Damian Lillard. Go get your Bradley Beal if you're Daryl Morey. And from there, you make that change. In regards to what the brother said, I mean, it's absolutely insane, right? You don't want to play with this guy. He ain't team. This is what was said after Joel Embiid basically stated after Game 7. I thought one of the turning points was when Ben Simmons was underneath the basket, did not make the bucket. They ended up getting fouled, only making one of the 2 points, and then the Atlanta Hawks took advantage of that opportunity. And there's nothing wrong with being real. There's nothing wrong with telling the truth. Now it's Joel Embiid's fault. It really is laughable where this whole entire Ben Simmons and where his family is coddling him over and over and over again. His team is a disaster. His supporting cast is an absolute nightmare, and it's part of the reason why Ben Simmons is where he is at today. the people who are surrounding him and coddling him and telling him what to do and how to handle his life, it's not working. It's not for the best, and it's not very beneficial. So it's ridiculous. What else was said there? People killing Ben Simmons on this app. What's the tweet? People killing Ben Simmons on this app, but don't recognize that the team's star player and coach haven't backed him in the postseason press conference. I wonder why. I wonder why. All year long, all he got was babied. Now when the big moment comes, we're not dumb. We're not stupid. Everyone saw it. What are they supposed to say? Ben did okay. No, Ben did not do okay. And it's all right to say that. It's okay to admit things need to change. Players got to get better. Ben wasn't good enough. Why can't we be holding people accountable? We got to sugarcoat everything. It's the end of the year. It's the end of the year. I can get behind it during the season. I don't like it, and I'll bitch and complain about it forever, but I understand the job of a head coach and teammates. You're not going to throw everyone under the bus. After the season's over, you can acknowledge what went wrong. Everyone in the entire world saw what went wrong. So who are you fooling? You're not fooling anyone. This tweet goes on and says, how can a guy have confidence in his game with the bullshit happening? Oh, yeah. Let's blame Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid for Ben Simmons sucking. You see what I'm saying? What you're trying to do here, I guess the common theme is deflecting what's happening. What's the real issue? Ben Simmons sucks and can't shoot a basketball. But let's blame the players. Let's blame the fans. Let's blame the coach. No, Ben Simmons not good. Ben Simmons not good. Ben Simmons not good. Ben Simmons is not good. It's that simple, everyone. That simple.
Hey, Brodes, what's going on? I just read Danny Green's comments, and I agree with them a little bit. Philly fans can be a little extreme at times, but as far as turning on our players goes, I think he's dead wrong. And I think it's another case of a player not knowing the difference between turning on players and holding them accountable. I mean, we saw this with Sean Rodriguez a couple years ago. And I think we're seeing the same thing with Danny Green.
Oh, no doubt. We saw it with Reese Hoskins just a few days ago, too, a week ago or so, right about the good things. What are you talking about? You guys stink. You stink. It's just the culture that we're in. When you underachieve, I guess you can't be hard. It's not turning on you. We love you. We die 76ers. We've been talking about it for how long now? Since the season ended. We have not stopped as a city reflecting on what we witnessed. We care so much. We are extremely passionate, and we don't turn on you. We're not changing fan bases. We're not saying this, that, and the other. It really comes down to a boo, and getting on player means be better. Be better. Be better. You are a professional basketball player, right? What's it matter what Joe Schmo from West Philly says? What's it matter what Bob Smith from South Jersey says? What's it matter when Bill Johnson from Conshohocken calls into 97.5 The Fanatic and says the team needs to play better? In what universe should that impact your play so much that you have no idea how to play basketball anymore? You're supposed to shell that out and block that out and just not even hear it. That should never impact your play on a Tuesday night in October, and it shouldn't impact your play when you're in the playoffs. It should not impact your play. Play better. If you played better, we would not have this type of reaction. Are there fans that go too far? Absolutely. But this whole thing about Ben, what fan base is going to go through 5 years of not shooting a basketball and then costing your team another playoff series? He's costed them in the past too, playing 5-on-4. So another one. What fan base is going to accept that? You'd be a fool to accept that. And I'm not a fool. This fan base is not a fool. And that's okay. So it makes me sick. It really does. I'm sick, and it bothers me. Because we have this narrative that this fan base is just so toxic. No, we're not. We are naturally reacting to what we are seeing. People go overboard in every city. If you're classifying them as the Philadelphia fan base, well, then you're just not analyzing it properly, and that's on you. Shame on you. It's like anything, right? Even in politics, the hard rights, absolute fucking idiots. The hard lefts, absolute fucking morons. Then there's the people in the middle, and that is like the majority of society. You have your extreme dipshits. Well, that's the same in sports. You have your extreme dipshits, but I'm not going to base it off of that. I'll base it off of more of the majority. That's where we are in Philadelphia. I'm basing it off of the majority. We care. We're passionate. We hold you accountable the right way. Don't talk about the idiot and the moron. That's 1 out of every 25,000. That's the world. That's life. You can't change that.
Dude, Danny Green. All right. First of all, I just want to say, I believe this quote is by John Kruk, but if it isn't, correct me if I'm wrong. If you don't want to get booed in Philly, don't suck. It's that simple. We're just holding you accountable, Danny. And if you can't handle that, you can go take your bitch ass to another city where they won't be quote unquote as hard on you. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly said. I was wondering, if I'm Danny Green, am I tuning into the Fanatic today? Am I tuning into Philadelphia Sports Radio today, just driving around, laughing, going, look at what I started. Look at what I sparked. I don't know if he's going to be back. I know some quotes were in there. We didn't have dinner. We never had dinner. We can't start those conversations until the free agent period started. So that's been getting thrown around. And but the way he was referencing the Sixers, knowing he was a UFA, he did leave some words out there that made me question if he was going to come back or not. And maybe this is the turning point. Maybe you realize after this type of statement, there ain't no way. All right, there's no way in hell that I'm returning to that city. And by all means, you can fill a Danny Green role throughout. I thought he was very important, and he did a lot of little things. I'm not saying it's going to be the easiest fix in the world, but it is a fixable fix, and it's not the hardest thing to fix in the world either. So, if he's gone, he's gone. Just asinine statements, though, that just don't need to happen. And, it's a shame. It's a shame that it went down this way, and we feel backstabbed. Stabbed in the back, I would say. At least that's how I feel. And maybe the players say we feel the same way when you boo us. Well, we boo you because we know there's better in you. We boo you because we know there's more in you. And if you think that, well, Danny Green's saying this because he knows that there's more in you as a fan base, there's no reason to be so toxic. You're taking the boo the wrong way. Booing is not toxic. Demanding more is not toxic. You said it yourself, Danny. You guys were the number 1 overall seed. Right. So we have high expectations. And when you don't meet those expectations, we are going to let you know, because as I started this bad boy off, I asked this question. What's the job of a fan? The job of the fan is to react to what we see and to hold players accountable and to, embrace the city, embrace the team. We do all that. So if you underachieve, you control it. The players control. It's a controllable. All the time throughout sports. It's an uncontrollable. It's a controllable. What you can control, what you can't control. This is a controllable. Play better. You play better, you don't get this reaction. You do your job, you don't get this reaction. And to be fair, it's not even about winning the championship. It really isn't. We don't get on Joel. Worked through a torn meniscus, left everything out there. Tobias missed some layups, wasn't perfect. He's not getting as bashed as Ben is and some other players. Why? Because we just need you to go out there and leave everything on the floor. Leave it out on the floor, and we're good. We're acknowledging that. We might complain about some things like, hey, you probably still should have won this and that, but that's normal. And if you don't think that's normal, shame on you. You're in the wrong occupation, or at least in the wrong city. I wouldn't want to be in any of these towns that don't give a damn about their sports. Why? Come on. Get criticized, get loved. There's nothing better than being, ask Brian Dawkins, ask Allen Iverson. All right, ask those players what it's like. You want to fall in those categories? There's nothing better than that. Sure, you get your Donovan McNabbs. Now, I love Donovan McNabb, and there's a lot of criticism with him. But, you talk about a Brian Dawkins and Allen Iverson. Imagine being appreciated in that city compared to San Antonio. Yeah, I'm sure that's just fucking awesome. Woohoo. Come on now. There's a reason why it's more special when it happens here. Ask the Boston Celtics fan. Ask Larry Bird what it's like in Boston. You think Larry Bird would have that same type of appreciation in Orlando? Come on. That's why it's better here. When you control the controllable and be the force that you can be. Sixers were not that, and we react accordingly. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Sports Talk with Brodes, and I will see you next time.